Hello, welcome back. This is Jeff Byers, and this is Andy 255, and I'm going to show you how to kind of reuse your old scenes. This is a scene from our Module 1 rain simulation scene, so I'll show you how to get started. So all we need to do is create a wider stance on the road so we can get our car in there, and that's not a big deal. That's easy to do, so let's do that right away. Go ahead and click on this piece and this piece, shift select that piece, and go into component mode. And that allows us to go in here and move vertices all at once. If you don't know how to do that, it's pretty cool. So you can just do that all at one time. Let's widen that up pretty good. Let's see how that looks. And not quite wide enough. Let's give it a little more width. There we go. So we have lots of room here. There we go. Great. Something like that would be fine. Alright, so with the building, let's go back into object mode. And let's go ahead and just duplicate it over. Okay, Control D, duplicate it over. Let's give it a little space here. We want a little space between the buildings. And what we're going to do with this one is we're just going to move things around just to make it a little bit different. So I'm going to go to Vertex, and you can see how simple this can get. Can be. Go in here like that. And let's go ahead and select these vertices and move these over here. Okay, so we just give it a different look. Now this one here, we want to go ahead, we just want the awning to be just over that part right there. So let's just click on faces here and delete those pieces. Alright, nothing hard. And then let's just go in here and fix that up real quick. Get a little closer so we can see what we're doing. Go into selection mode, and now we're going to go into, let's go, hold the shift key down, right mouse button, and go into append to polygon tool. One of my favorite tools. Click on one of the edges here, and just follow it around, like that. If you get lucky, it goes all the way around. You can like click on the edge and continue clicking. That'll give you like a triangle, and then click on the bottom one, and then just hit enter again. I'll do that again so you can see what I did. Alright, so go into selection mode. Hold down the shift key and the right key, your right mouse button, the shift key and the right mouse button, and go to append to polygon tool. You can also find it under mesh tools, append to polygon tool. Alright. So click on one of the edges. Let's just say the top one. And if you click on this one here, it gives you a triangle, like I said. And then you click on the bottom one. And if that doesn't work, you can always go back. Hit the backspace key. So I'm going to click on this one and just go right down to that one. And that should create it. Hit enter. And let's try it again. There we go. Okay, so now we're going to go in here and do the same thing for this guy. I'm going to rotate so I can see it a little bit better. There we go. Now if the append polygon tool doesn't work, there are things you can do inside the tool too as well. So to get into the tool, you'll need to hold down the space bar, go into mesh tools, and go to append polygon tool and go inside the option box. Now with the options, keep new faces planar. So these are planar because you know these faces are following X, Y, and Z perfectly. But let's say you have this object rotated and it's not flat anymore in axes. So you would have to turn that on. So if you notice that something is up and you can't get it to work, turn on keep new faces planar. Okay, that might help. Alright, so with that said, I'm just going to turn that off because I know I'm planar. We're good. So another thing you can do, another way out of this, if you can't get the append polygon tool to work, you also can problem solve it out by clicking on an edge and do Control E and go ahead and move that over and then weld these vertices together. There's a lot of things you can do to get this. You can go to fill hole if you want to. Again, be careful. You can only fill one little area. If you have a bunch of holes in your object, then that will cause chaos. But I'm just going to use the append polygon tool because it's working, and it's just about as fast as you can get. Here, enter. The only thing you're going to need to do is re-add the materials, which is fairly easy. You go ahead and click on the face, right click over it and go to assign existing material. And if you already have the texture all set up, you're good to go. So there's the awning. And we're going to do this part right here is go to face, select it, and right click over it and go to assign existing material, and this one is the wall. So now we're all finished, and there's that piece we have. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead. Oh, I got one more piece here that we need to add. Go to face and add existing material wall. So that should do it. And that wasn't too long. That didn't take too long to kind of make that a little bit different. So you may want to add a piece in between to kind of break that up a little bit. And that's really entirely up to you. You could go in here and do a bunch of things. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and select this piece and Control D that and move that over. So I have two. So if I mess this one up, it's not a big deal. So what I can do is I can do something very simple by going in here and just selecting these faces. And that selects everything. Let's go ahead and just select all these pieces right here. Get a little bit closer. Normally I don't know why I did that. Normally I would just go in here and just double click on that and double click on the second one. It goes all the way around, then go in here to the front and just deselect the rest of it. There we go. That's the easiest way. So now I've just got the sides. I'm going to go ahead and extrude, Control E. I'm just going to make that something a little more interesting, like that. Just kind of move that over, like so. Okay. And I can do something interesting with this probably, and just take these faces. Actually, let's just do this. Select all those and go to the top view. There we go. And just take everything from the back, because we just want to worry about the top part. There we go. And we can go in here and do Control E and just make some interesting little break in here like this. Not to go through the back, right? There we go. Problem with this is that we need to get rid of that is a problem. So delete that one. And we can do the same thing now with this here. We're going to have some fighting. Yeah, so I'm just going to delete one of those. There we go. The top one, and that works out pretty good. So now you got enough detail in there. Let's go back into object mode to see what we have. Okay, like that. There we go. Great, so there's start of your scene, and then this one here, I didn't mess that up too bad, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that. And we're going to take this guy again, and Control D, move it, like this. Okay. And we're just going to move that so it connects. That. There we go. So now we're getting that street scene here. Looks good. Okay, like that. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and select these guys. And I'm going to go ahead and select everything real quick and just center pivot and freeze transformations, just kind of deleting history freeze transformations. And what I'm going to do, so that makes it easier to copy stuff. Let's copy these. Control D, and move those forwards. Go ahead and go to the top view and get those set up right. Here we go. And then we've got this one here, and you can see that we're going to be off a little bit, but that's okay. So Control D, go ahead and move this back, and just get close so we don't want to have a big huge gap. Little gaps are okay, because that Streets have little gaps. Control D. Here we go. Okay, that looks good so far. And then one more, Control D. There we go. Okay. I think that looks pretty good. And then we're going to just move these around a little bit. Vertices on here, just to make it look a little different. Maybe make this door a little bit wider. Okay. All right. Okay, so let's go ahead and duplicate that handle down a little bit. There we go. Alright, so you get the idea. So now you got your little scene, little city scene, and if you want to, you can do a couple things. You can add more detail to it if you'd like. Right now we're good to go. Okay. So basically that's what you can do with your scene. You can do more if you want to. Okay. So find an angle that looks pretty good and find out where you're going to put your fire hydrant and stuff like that. And you can continue modeling like this if you want to. Let's go ahead and do Control D. Move that down like that. And maybe even move this back a little bit so it's offset. Maybe some of you think the sidewalks aren't wide enough, and that's probably true because we don't have enough room here. So we can take those sidewalks and just select them all that we have so far. They're kind of like modular units here. And Control D those and just make them a little bit wider like that. There we go. Just add on to it. There we go. That looks a little bit better. I think that looks about right because we have enough room now for the fire hydrant to go on there. I think that looks good. And of course, if you want to, you can do the same thing to this side here. And that should work pretty good. Alright, and if we need a little more road here, we can do that pretty easily. Okay, there we go. Okay, so that should give us enough room. Here we go, so you can put your props in there. And the props package that I found was actually really good. So watch that video on how to prep those and get everything prepped. Remember, we're in centimeters. Each centimeter in Maya in this scene is 1 foot. We already figured that out. So your props that you find are going to be really big or huge. And feel free to change the color of your buildings to make them a little bit better. I just don't want to take the time to do that. You can definitely do that if you'd like to. With that said, basically that's it. That didn't take long at all, and I'll see you guys in the next video.